Hey guys, Kris here. So last evening, Audi just revealed their brand new Q4 e-tron, their brand new electric vehicle. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at the specs, the models, and what is cool about the new Q4 e-tron, as well as taking a look at the exterior and the interior and giving you guys, well, my reaction and my opinion on the brand new vehicle. And what is even more interesting is that I am in the middle of testing a Volkswagen ID.4, which is built on the same platform and is basically the same car underneath as the Q4 e-tron, and also daily an Audi e-tron 55 that I bought about 6 months ago. So it will be very interesting to take a look at the new Q4 e-tron. So guys, if this is the type of video you guys like, please remember to drop a like on the video down below. And well, if you want to see more EV stuff, I have a whole channel basically dedicated to EV. So if that's the type of videos you guys like, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below and also sounding that notification bell. Okay, so before we dive into the actual models, I just want to address the elephant in the room, and that is Audi's naming scheme, because it's all a bit confusing now, because now you have the Audi e-tron, you have the Audi e-tron GT, and then you have the Audi Q4 e-tron. And well, e-tron means electric, but other than that, there's no structure to their naming scheme anymore. And I actually had a prediction before this car came out and also before the e-tron GT came out, and that is that the Audi e-tron, which is the car I have, I own, will be renamed the Q6 e-tron when it gets its facelift in about a year or two. But now there have been reports that there will actually be a different Q6 e-tron built on the next generation, or a variation of the generation, an evolution of the platform that underpins the Porsche Taycan and also the e-tron GT, and also the next Porsche Macan electric and Cayenne electric. So I don't know, will this e-tron version, my e-tron, only be built as half a generation, and then we will see? I'm not sure. I mean, it's all a bit confusing, but until then, I don't know, Audi, how are you going to reconcile your naming scheme, because it's all a bit confusing. But that was besides the point, but I just wanted to point out now they have 3 different e-tron models that don't, fit with any other naming scheme that they have. Okay, so let's jump into the models. So we have 3 confirmed models, which is the Q4 e-tron 35, and then the Q4 e-tron 40, and then the Q4 e-tron 50 Quattro. So the Norwegian webpage is actually the only webpage I could find with actual pricing, where you could download a PDF with pricing. I looked at the US website, the UK, and also the German. None of those had pricing, but I did find an article in the UK which quoted a starting price. So I've used that as a basis, comparatively to the Norwegian prices, to about estimate the prices on the other models. And I'm just estimating the prices in the US and also in Germany or Europe in euros, based on, how Norwegian prices normally stack up to those countries. So the Q4 e-tron 35 in Norway will start at 399,900 or 36,000 pounds in the UK. I'm guessing that will be around $40,000 in the US, and I don't know, about 45,000 euros in Europe. That version comes with 1 rear motor, so rear wheel drive, 170 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 9 seconds, with a 52 kilowatt hour battery pack and 335 kilometers of estimated range. So that is basically the same specs as the ID.4 City, or the 52 kilowatt hour version. And then you have a corresponding Sportback version to all of these models, which is about 20,000 kroners extra, or about 2,000 euros, 2,000 pounds, or $2,000, give or take. And then you have the Q4 e-tron 40, which is also rear wheel drive, but has 204 horsepower, because it's also, it's not also, but it's attached to a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack version with a 511 kilometer WLTP range. The 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 8.5 seconds starts at 446,200 kroners, or about 40,000 pounds, or about, $45,000, or about 50,000 euros. And again, that model is in correspondence with the ID4 77 kilowatt hour version. And then you have the Q4 E-Tron 50 Quattro, which is the only versions of these with, well, dual motors and all-wheel drive. That has 299 horsepower, the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6.2 seconds, and has an estimated range of 488 kilometers. Starts at 484,500 kroners, or about 44,000 pounds, or about, well, just below $50,000, or about 55,000 euros. So there is a theme here, and that is in Norway at least. The corresponding Q4 E-Tron model is about 50,000 kroners more expensive than the ID4. So that is very, very interesting. It is built on the same platform, the MEB platform, and it is basically underneath, and not even deep underneath, just underneath the skin, it is basically a Volkswagen ID4. And this is actually the first time that Audi and Volkswagen are sharing a platform that is bigger than an Audi A3 since the B4A4 from, well, the mid to late 90s. That was built on the same as the B5 Passat and the B5.5 Passat, also B5.5 Passat, yeah. And that is very, very interesting because Audi haven't shared a smaller than A3 platform since that car. So you have to look at this from that perspective because pricing is quite impressive, especially here in Norway and probably other places where you have EV incentives. This car is about the same price as an Audi A3 here. So I don't mind it sharing a platform, and some parts it will be very close, as here in the drivetrain and the battery pack and the performance. It has the same wheelbase, 2.76 meters, and is about 1 centimeters longer at 4.59 meters long compared to the ID4. 19 to 21 inch wheels, the same as the ID4, and also has the 52 kilowatt hour battery pack and also the 77 kilowatt hour battery pack. But looking at the, we'll take a look. I'm just going to open up my computer here. The exterior design. What is interesting is that, you know, you have the ID4, the Volkswagen, and then you have the Skoda Enyaq, which they are very similar. I mean, interior and exterior, they are, yeah, almost, you know, like two egg twins. They are very, very close. This is a bit, you know, like a half brother almost, or half sister, where you have one parent that is shared, but it looks quite different. You wouldn't immediately you know, think that it shared a platform looking at the outside. So I think the front end looks quite nice, and I also like the side profile. And then you have the rear end, which looks like a baby E-Tron, a baby big E-Tron. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. But yeah, overall I do like the design. And it also comes in a Sportback, but I think I, for now, prefer the normal E-Tron, the SUV shape, because in some colors and some, you know, wheel and tire configurations, I think it looks even better than the big brother E-Tron. And it being, yeah, the same size as the ID4, it's not a small vehicle. And this maybe puts into perspective just how big the big E-Tron actually is, because this is about 30 centimeters, yeah, shorter, and has a trunk space at 520 liters in the normal version and 535 liters in the Sportback, because the cargo area is just a bit longer, which is about 120-30 liters smaller than the big E-Tron, which is a bit. But yeah, overall, I do like the exterior design, and I can't wait to, well, book a press car for testing and also take a look at this car in the flesh. I do like the exterior design. I like the rear end, as I said, a baby big E-Tron, and then also the front end, I think it looks even better than the big E-Tron. And I also like the haunches and creases in the side profile over the wheel arches, and, you know, proportion wise, yeah, it's a very, very good looking car. Okay, so jumping into the interior, this is really where the E-Tron or Q4 E-Tron is very different to the Skoda Enyaq and also the ID4, because it looks nothing like those cars. And I've seen a few videos like Thomas from Autogefühl who did a walkthrough. He's one of the lucky, well, journalists or YouTubers who gets these early looks at these cars. Well, because he's quite a big channel, and also, well, he's in Germany. So guys, if you want me to have earlier access, you have to subscribe to the channel. That helps me a lot. Thank you very much. But yeah, so this is basically an Audi interior. So you have the virtual cockpit, which is a bit smaller than in other models at 10.25 inches versus the 12.3 inch, which is the normal size screen. But I think this is the same screen size you would get in something like an Audi A1 and an Audi A3. I might be mistaken, but yeah, it's not too small, but it has the same layout. So it's a very nice and well tested and proven system that I have had no issues with my E-Tron and, well, other Audis. I've had several Audis also. And also you have the central display, which is 11.6 inches. And also, you know, the typical MMI, touch MMI from Audi, which is also a very good system, logic layout, easy to use. So yeah, I do like that. And then below that, you have the same HVAC controls as you have in the E-Tron GT. So instead of a screen like you have in the big E-Tron, you have, you know, physical buttons. And I do commend them for that because I'm always a fan of physical buttons. But that brings me to what I don't like about this interior, and that is the steering wheel. So first off, it looks unfinished. The design, I don't like it at all. And it has touch capacitive buttons, which is the same as I have in the ID4. And if you've seen any of the videos I have uploaded there, I've talked about the software and glitching issues and the reliability issues of that system several times. And I'm not a huge fan of the capacitive touch buttons. So I'm really disappointed that they went for that here, that they didn't just use a normal Audi steering wheel. Maybe it wouldn't work with the platform, with the CAN bus. I'm not sure. Yeah, my phone thought I was talking to my phone, but yeah. And also what I don't like is the lack of a physical volume knob. What is going on with the car industry? Is it hard to give us a physical volume knob? I loved it in my Volvos, I loved it in my Audis, and Audi have been known for having that small volume knob down there in the center console, which is where you lay your hand. But there is, you know, a bit of redemption here because it has like a circle pad that you could just, you know, you do this motion on the pad, you do a circle motion like you would do with a volume knob. So it works kind of in the same way. I've tested it in the brief test I had with the E-Tron GT, and it's not the worst. And also on the steering wheel, you could go like this, and you can, you know, turn the volume up and down. So I'm not a huge fan of all of these touch buttons, and I find it kind of odd that they, in the HVAC controls, they went back to hard buttons, and then they took away the physical volume knob. That's a bit annoying. The shifter also, which is the same as you have in the E-Tron GT, which is this small thing that you push forwards and backwards, is okay. But I think what Audi have done with the center storage also is a bit weird. What is it with Audis and EVs? My E-Tron is also very weird. I've talked about it so many times in my videos. Yeah, the same here also. It's just awkward. How hard is it to do something like Tesla or, well, even Volkswagen with the ID4 or the Ford Mustang Mach-E? I don't know why they have to do this weird center console, but overall, materials seem to be up to Audi par, though I do suspect some hard touch plastics on the doors. But where you rest your arms, it looks to be leather. You can get this with the quilted leather sports seats, S-Line exterior and interior package. Yeah, it looks very, very cool. Also another thing, it comes now with probably an optional extra, a Sonos sound system, which is a first, and also Audi's version of augmented reality, as you find in the ID4, which I am a huge fan of. At first, it's a bit overwhelming and looks gimmicky, but once you get used to using it, it's actually very, very cool. And, well, I think it's actually a nice safety feature because it highlights cars and lanes, and yeah, it is cool. And I think that is one of the new cool techs that will come in cars in the future. Also, do I have anything else here on my... No, yeah. Also, you have B mode, so brake regenerative mode. that is also welcome, because in my Audi you don't have that. You have sport mode, which you have to put into with the shifter every time to get brake regeneration. Here you just put it in B mode and it's always in B mode, so that is also a nice welcome. So not full one pedal driving, but it's better than nothing. So yeah guys, I think I covered about everything I wanted to talk about. So I like the exterior, I like the interior. I'm very glad that they just didn't, you know, put lipstick on a pig and, you know, just put nice bits and pieces on top of an ID4 interior, which I don't mind at all. But this is an Audi. It's supposed to be upmarket. It's supposed to be luxurious. You know, what you want to pay for and that you can't get in a Volkswagen, this is where you're supposed to get it. So I commend Audi for, well, staying true to their brand and giving us, well, something that looks very, very Audi, especially at this price point. And I think the price point is very competitive, but we also know that with Audi optional extras, this will quickly become, you know, relatively much more expensive than an ID4, but I still think you can get one out of the door at a fair price. So guys, let me know what you think of the new Q4 e-tron. Would you choose this over the Skoda Enyaq, the ID4, or would you just, you know, choose the big e-tron? I'm very curious to know which car you would choose in what model. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always guys, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.
Cloudless sky.